And I noticed the second that I arrived, I was like, okay, you must edit this, otherwise it's not gonna get out on time, and there's a lot of pressure, and if you don't push it out, then you're not disciplined, and the momentum will fall away. Just all of these like fearful stories. And so it felt really heavy. And when I sat in my hotel room, I was like, oh, I don't wanna do this, but my mind was telling me to do this. And so the second that I actually just took a pause and I let myself say, no, I'm going to order myself a pizza and do whatever it is that I feel like doing just for now, just for now. The second that I did that, it almost was like 40 minutes. It really wasn't even that much longer. Then all I wanted to do was edit. And it felt so fun and flowy and joyful. Welcome back to Success Fully, where we have honest conversations about ambition, fulfillment, and creating a life that feels like your own. If you don't know me yet, I'm Catherine. I spent 6 years building and selling a business, and I'm joined here by my mindset coach, Ariana, and we're excited to chat with you. Last episode, we talked about discipline and how if it comes at the cost of listening to your body's signals, we can call it self-abandonment. But discipline, we like discipline. Discipline is a good thing, but if discipline is coming from a place of not enough or fear or self-judgment, it's a heaviness and pressure that actually doesn't serve us. Discipline should come from a place of joy and excitement and genuine inspiration to do the thing. And it's a very different energy to carry into whatever we're doing, whatever we're working on. I've been hearing about this a lot from you about how much structure and how much flow is needed. We can't have all structure, otherwise it's too rigid, and we can't have all flow because then there's just no boundaries and any constraints whatsoever. And I can tell you, having gone from so much structure to like many years of just pure rigidity and structure to then so much flow in the last year, I just kind of went to the opposite side of the pendulum. Even just pure flow is not good either. We need a balance of both of those things. So the question today is, can we work hard towards something meaningful, but not make ourselves miserable on the way there?
What would you say that it felt different from, this Wednesday compare with experience that you had 2 weeks ago?
Okay, so once we recorded episode 2, I was really excited to improve my newfound skill of editing videos and just step into this embodiment of my new identity as a podcaster. And so I did what Ariana, you recommended, of going to a cafe, ordering myself a coffee, sitting down and just starting to edit from a place of joy and excitement, as opposed to just dragging my feet and feeling the heaviness and pressure, which I had felt previously. And so this time around, it felt so different. The hours flew by. And I also flew to Fiji for vacation, for fun, for myself. And I noticed the second that I arrived, I was like, okay, you must edit this, otherwise it's not gonna get out on time, and there's a lot of pressure, and if you don't push it out, then you're not disciplined, and the momentum will fall away. Just all of these like fearful stories. And so it felt really heavy. And when I sat in my hotel room, I was like, oh, I don't wanna do this, but my mind was telling me to do this. And so the second that I actually just took a pause and I let myself say, no, I'm going to order myself a pizza and do whatever it is that I feel like doing just for now, just for now. The second that I did that, it almost was like 40 minutes. It really wasn't even that much longer. Then all I wanted to do was edit. And it felt so fun and flowy and joyful. So when we launched episode 2 on Wednesday, I felt night and day different compared to 2 weeks ago. Instead of my body feeling achy and annoyed, I let go. I was like, if 2 people like this video, like I know that I did my part. I created something that I'm proud of and I feel like it can help people, and it doesn't matter when people watch it. It doesn't even matter if people watch it, but if it can help 2 people, I'm so proud, and that's all that matters. And so I genuinely released detachment of the outcome, and I just went about my day, and I did laundry, and I called my parents, and I just like did stuff that like, yeah, I needed to get done. And then at 4:30, I really felt like seeing a concert. I, it had been on my radar for a while, but just in that moment, I was like, oh, I really want to go. And I had my music lesson again, and I canceled it again. But the second that I decided to go, and it actually would have been easier to stay at home. And I'm telling this story because discipline doesn't just mean listening to your body and softening and doing nothing. Like sometimes it actually takes effort to get what you want and to enjoy your life and enjoy the process. And so the minute that I decided to go to this concert, and it was in Santa Clara, an hour and 40 minutes away, I like, I, anyone who has lived with me, like previous roommates, ex-partners, know that I'm a snail when it comes to putting on bedding. I just like drag my feet. It takes a while. I don't like it. It's really like one of my least favorite things. I did it at warp speed. I was moving so fast. I set an alarm for what time I needed to leave to go to this concert, and I could not believe that I finished it even before the alarm went off. I was like, my concept of time is just so crazy. So I go to this concert and I have the best time, and I was able to just treat myself and celebrate and reward. And I had not done that in previous times of my life. And so, yeah, that's the story that I wanted to share.
Catherine, thank you so much for sharing this story with all of us. Again, I'm speaking from all the audience. Your stories are always your offering for us. And it's so inspiring that you are sharing this, because actually, well, definitely we can tell that when your discipline comes from joy, from pleasure, from fulfillment, it feels completely different than when it comes from pressure, right? What do you feel about this?
Yeah, I really feel like it's the same action and it actually looks the same on the outside. It's the same behavior, but on the inside, it feels completely different. It's different fuel. I read this book called The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership, changed my whole perspective. And I read it for a business purpose, but ultimately, I feel like it always has like a spiritual meaning and like a life meaning behind it. And it talked about how fear is super motivating, but it's toxic fuel. Like it works. We all know like we punish ourselves to go to the gym and we have a great workout. Like we are afraid of not meeting a work target. And so then we work extra hard, like, ooh, like afraid that the deadline is going to come. And so we just like galvanize and like just get our stuff together. And it feels nice to work toward a goal. And there's always like that montage in movies of like when they're just like going for it and you're like getting so amped. But if it's coming from a place of not enough, that's not sustainable. Like I have lived that and I can say it is not enjoyable. It's not a life of presence or of joy or of levity or of really like clarity of purpose either, because it's coming from this like ego place. So knowing that it's a different fuel, experimenting with, hey, how about I actually come at it from a place of joy and a place of excitement and passion and fascination and detach from the outcome. And let's see if that energy can carry me to maybe take those same actions, maybe differently though, and a different approach, and see where that takes you. So I think ultimately, maybe effort isn't the problem, and it's not how much effort, forcing is it. And I remember, Ariane, you said forcing is not power. So
Exactly. This is a very, very powerful wisdom. Power versus Force from David Hawkins, that book. If you read it, you will understand 100% what she's sharing right now. Because sometimes when we are forcing ourselves to do things, since force comes from fear, a lower vibration energy and emotion, that makes you feel that the pressure, like, oh, I must do this. It's completely different, the energy when you said, I must do this, from where when you said, I want to do this or I get to do this. Can you tell the difference? We all know that in order to get the things that we want in life, of course, we have to take action. But I always said, when your actions are aligned actions, which means that it comes from the purpose, the fulfillment, the joy of knowing that after taking those actions, you will be closer to whatever you want to accomplish. You are not creating from fear, you are creating from love. You know that you have to do those things, but you know that in order for you to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, you have to take action. That's the masculine energy from the feminine energy of your ideas, right? So if it's completely different, actually, I will invite you all while you are watching this podcast to just make a pause on the video and take a moment and place your hands in your chest and in your belly. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, when was the last time you took action from love? Try to remember a situation in your life that you've taken action from love. That thing that you truly want to do, you wanted to do, but you were taking the action despite maybe it requires a little bit of effort, but after taking the action, you felt so good. Try to remember that feeling. And now, make a switch and try to remember the last time you were taking action, but from fear, something that you were doing because in the deepest of your subconscious mind, you were thinking, if I don't do this, I won't make it happen. Oh, I have so much fear because if I don't I don't finish this presentation, I will be ruined. This is the last chance I'm gonna do it. How can you feel the contraction of your entire body when you are taking action from fear? And the expansion of your entire body when you are taking action, aligned action from love? If it's completely different.
Wow, I could not agree more. The feeling of contraction versus expansion. I read this book called Bending Reality by Victoria Song last June. And it was what contributed to me realizing, and that big turning point for me, that the way that I was approaching work was so unbelievably contracted and not sustainable. And my body just felt in knots. I was having like physiological symptoms, like digestive issues and all that stuff related to that. And so when I heard that truth, I was like, that makes so much sense. And now I am more cognizant of when I'm coming from a place of expansion versus contraction. I just started to notice how my body was feeling. And that made all the difference for me a year ago. And yeah, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I love that we are sharing these couple books because I always say readers are leaders. So when you are able to read, remember that books are master teachers. So if anybody out there in this community wants to make the favor for all the community to write down there, and comment the books, names that we refer and a little summarize from them for the rest community, that will be a piece of golden nugget for all of us. And just to close this amazing podcast today, I would love to ask you something like, what would you say to somebody who is at this moment right now working really, really hard for their future freedom? What would you say, Catherine?
I am actually hearing from a lot of you that you want freedom. You want freedom to do what you want, when you want financial freedom, and you just like, if you could only just get there, if you could only supplement your income, if you could only get to that next milestone, if you could only sell your business, if you could only get that new promotion, then you would be happy. But knowing that if freedom is then the destination, can we practice some freedom on the way there? Can you offer yourself some love and some freedom in the approach that you take, in the little moments, in the day-to-day lives that we're actually living on the way over there? Because otherwise, the whole journey on the way there is tentative and it doesn't feel that fulfilling. And another thing is, what is your discipline in service of? Genuinely ask yourself, yes, you want freedom, but is it this illusion that once you finally arrive there, then all will be well and all your problems will be solved? Like, just checking in with what story are you telling yourself and what kind of what excuses are you making for your rushed, frenetic behavior on the way there? Trust me, that's what I've learned from 32 to 33 years of hauling, I don't know if I can swear, hauling butt and coming from this like, okay, urgent. Like, is it really truly urgent? Like, can you soften and can you let yourself enjoy the journey and have fun? Because having fun is the most magnetic energy.
Definitely having fun is the most magnetic energy, but especially because when we are having fun, we are authentic. And authenticity is the highest frequency that exists in here. Why? Because when we are authentic, we are loving ourselves, we are honoring our journey, we are not comparing our journey with anybody else out there. Because I always said, most of the time we are running and rushing into an imaginary race that only exists in here. Remember, time, it's an illusion. It's really an illusion. And in order for you to understand this, I'm just gonna use a simple example. 1 minute when you are doing abs, a plunge on the gym, it lasts forever. 1 minute with the love of your life, probably puff like this. This is what I mean. When I'm saying that time is an illusion. So again, remember, I always play around this, that this experience, it's called life, which means that we came here to enjoy the process, because otherwise it will be called death, right? So enjoying the process, being present in every little thing that we are doing, even washing your dishes at home, or writing that essay, or sending those emails that you have to as At the beginning of the podcast, Catherine said, oh, that day that I was like getting, like some troubles to edit the content. And then she heard me when I said, Catherine, it's okay. Just go to a coffee, embrace the identity of the content creator, and just enjoy the process. Because if you are not enjoying the process, what's the point of hosting this content, right? And she made a chef. She embraced that identity, that enjoy the process. And that's why we are here creating this content for you. And you can tell and you can feel the energy. This is not something that we must do. This is something that we want to do. And we want to do this to share you our experiences so you don't make the same mistakes and you can start to enjoy life more, have fun in every little part of the process, because this is all that we're going to get from this beautiful life experience.
I love that you said that time is an illusion, because I was just talking to a friend yesterday about time and how to think about time. There were two books that completely changed my concept of experiencing time. And the first is called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And he talks about the difference between linear, consistent time that we experience, which he calls Newtonian time, versus what you just said, Ariana, where it's time with a loved one, where you want it to last for so much longer, or it just feels so much richer and fuller, or it feels like it just goes by in a second. It feels differently than the normal way that we experience time, and he calls that Einsteinian time. And so this book is really fascinating if you're interested in doing that. And I actually just reread parts of it yesterday. It talks about ways that you can approach your own zone of genius, which maybe we can talk about in another episode. The other book that changed my concept of time is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Maybe you guys have read it. I have been thinking a lot about this idea of how we experience time and how we can feel more presence in our day-to-day lives. And so if you're interested in the concept of presence or in time and want to hear more about that, let us know in the comments and we can talk about that more next time. So just to close out, one thought is I don't think that we need less discipline. I don't think I need less discipline in my life, but it's the energy that I'm carrying that discipline. It's the energy that I'm doing the thing with. The opposite of self-abandonment is not actually doing less and taking less effort, making less effort, doing the easy thing, and just like relaxing and doing nothing. Like, important things still take effort and require action. And like you said, Ariana, it has to be aligned action. And when it is aligned action, the energy that we're carrying into it just feels so different and we experience life differently.
So once again, Catherine, thank you so much for sharing with all of us your experiences. Thank you for sharing your path, your story. And I hope I see you all next week. If you haven't done it yet, please click the little bell in here and be subscribed. Share this content with all the people that you imagine that they could relate with this and they can get some golden nuggets from this content, because we are here creating a community. This is something that we are all creating together. And if you have any comment, any question, anything that you want us to bring into the conversation in the following episode, please feel free to write down here in the comments and we're gonna try to answer all of you back. Mwah. Bye.
So thank you everyone for listening. Really appreciate you tuning in and sharing your thoughts. I love hearing from you in comments and DMs. Please keep them coming. And yeah, lots of love. See you in the next episode. Bye.